Hello there, I'm Dr. James Carter, and let me start with a little story. One that began on a freezing winter morning many years ago. That day, I went to visit an older patient of mine named Margaret. She opened the door with an old wool scarf around her neck, gave a soft cough, and said, "Doctor, I feel weaker this winter. Every morning I wake up completely drained." I looked at her, then at the small glass jar on her kitchen shelf, the jar of garlic and honey I once told her to try. I asked, "Are you still taking this?" She smiled gently and replied, "Of course, doctor. It feels like a bit of warmth for my body." And you know, that simple sentence made me realize something. When you're in your 50 seconds, 60 seconds, or beyond, you stop chasing complicated, expensive solutions. What your body truly needs is often something gentle, steady, and natural. Garlic and honey may sound simple, almost too simple, but I've seen them help countless patients get through the cold season with fewer coughs, less fatigue, better digestion, and even deeper sleep. Not because they're miracle cures, but because they awaken your body's own ability to heal. Think of your body in winter as an old house. The doors of your immune system close more slowly. The pipes of your circulation stiffen, and every breath feels a little colder. One spoonful of garlic infused in honey each morning is like turning on a small heater inside you. In this video, I want to share 10 reasons why this tiny habit can genuinely change your health, especially at an age when your body needs a little more kindness than before. And I'll share it through the stories I've lived, the lessons I've collected over 35 years of caring for people over 50, and the science explained in the simplest way possible. 1. Strengthening your natural immunity. You know, when I tell patients, your immune system is the first gatekeeper of your life, many just smile politely. But winter has a way of proving that statement true. One cold morning, a small draft, or someone in the house coughing. That's all it takes to remind you how invisible, yet essential immunity really is. I still remember Harold, 72 years old, small frame, very disciplined. Every winter, he used to catch a cold at least twice. But for the past 3 years, not a single cold. When I asked him his secret, he pointed at a jar of garlic and honey. "Doctor," he said, "I take 1 spoon every morning. Not because I believe in miracles, but because I can feel my body getting stronger." And I believed him because it made sense. Garlic contains a remarkable compound called allicin. When you crush a clove, this compound activates almost like waking up a tiny army designed to fight bacteria, viruses, and fungi. It doesn't make you feel stronger instantly, but it makes your immune system sharper, quicker to respond when something tries to harm you. Honey, on the other hand, is what I like to call the gentle night watchman. It's rich in enzymes and antioxidants, soothing inflammation, calming the throat, and supporting tissue healing, especially helpful for older adults who often have dry throats in winter. Together, garlic and honey give your body 2 essential gifts: a push from garlic, a protective hug from honey. Most patients don't feel the change immediately. But after 2 or 3 weeks, many tell me, "I don't catch colds as easily. My throat isn't sore anymore. I sleep deeper. And I wake up feeling refreshed in a way I can't quite explain." And here's the beautiful part. You don't need much. Just 1 small spoon on an empty stomach. I once told Margaret, the patient from my story, that immunity is like a candle in winter. If you don't tend to it daily, the flame dims. But with small, warm habits, it burns steady and strong. And garlic honey? It's one of those little flames. 2. Garlic honey and your heart. As you pass your 50 seconds, the heart is no longer the powerful engine it once was. It becomes more like an old friend who has walked beside you through decades. Quiet, steady, but sometimes sending gentle signals we tend to ignore. Shorter breaths, slower steps, a bit of heaviness on cold days. I had a patient named Robert, 68, a former carpenter, calloused hands, tough spirit, but a surprisingly fragile heart. His cholesterol was unstable, his blood pressure unpredictable. One day he asked, Doctor, I don't want more medication. Is there something natural, something gentle I can do for my heart? I handed him a small jar of garlic honey. He looked at me as if I'd told a joke. But 3 months later, he returned with a rare smile. Doctor, I don't know how it works, but I'm breathing easier. My walks don't tire me out. My blood pressure is calmer. And strangely, my mind feels lighter. What he felt wasn't a miracle, it was biology. Garlic contains allicin, a sulfur compound researchers call the warrior of blood vessels. It helps lower LDL cholesterol, relaxes blood vessels, and makes blood flow more smoothly. Honey, meanwhile, is rich in antioxidants that protect the blood vessel lining from inflammation and oxidative stress, two silent enemies of heart health. Together, they form a gentle but powerful balance. Garlic clears the path. Honey protects the walls. And your heart finally gets to breathe. Help lower bad cholesterol, improve the elasticity of your blood vessels, and keep your circulation moving smoothly, almost like widening the little roads inside your body so your heart doesn't have to work so hard. And honey is the gentle part of the story. Inside it are hundreds of antioxidant molecules, quiet little bodyguards that protect your arteries from inflammation, oxidative stress, and the slow wear and tear that steals heart health over time. When you combine garlic and honey, you create a beautiful kind of balance. Garlic pushes away what harms you. Honey nourishes what keeps you well. And your heart, that loyal old friend, gets to breathe a little easier every day. I often tell my patients, not everything good for your heart has to be complicated. Sometimes one small habit, repeated long enough, can change the entire direction of your health. A spoonful of garlic honey in the morning will never replace medication, but it is a gentle handshake between nature and your heart. In the next part, I want to talk about something many people overlook: your digestive health, the foundation of almost everything else in your body, especially once you're past 50. 3. Your digestive system, the gateway to better health. There's a truth I repeat to every patient over 50. Your health doesn't begin in your heart, it begins in your gut. It sounds strange at first, but the longer I practice medicine, the more I see how true it is. Older adults often complain about bloating, constipation, indigestion, or loss of appetite, but few realize their digestive system has simply grown tired with time, like an old machine that needs a little oil each day. One autumn afternoon, I visited Anthony Treads, a cheerful man who loved making toast every morning. But lately, he'd been eating less, feeling heavy, uncomfortable, always full. When I asked if he'd tried changing anything, he sighed, "Doctor, I just thought this was part of getting old." I placed my hand over his and said, "Aging is natural. Being uncomfortable doesn't have to be." I suggested he take garlic honey each morning, about 15-20 minutes before breakfast. A few weeks later, he called me sounding genuinely excited. "Doctor, my stomach feels lighter, I'm eating better, and my whole body feels like it's working again." I wasn't surprised. Crushed garlic releases natural sulfur compounds that stimulate stomach juices and help you digest food more effectively. And allicin helps suppress harmful bacteria in the gut, the ones that cause gas, bloating, and that drained feeling that hangs over your day. Honey, meanwhile, is what I call food for the good guys. It contains natural prebiotics that feed healthy gut bacteria and help restore balance, like tending a garden, so the weeds fade and the flowers return. When garlic and honey work together, you don't just digest better, you feel lighter from the inside out. Many older patients tell me, "Doctor, I feel like my whole body woke up again." Because when digestion improves, you absorb nutrients better, your energy steadies, your sleep deepens, and your mood rises. Health often begins with the simplest things. 4. Your natural winter armor. Every winter, my clinic fills up with people suffering from colds, lingering coughs, sore throats. But there's one group of patients who come far less often, the ones who use garlic honey daily. I think of Linda, 70, an avid gardener. Every cold season she used to deal with a dry cough that lasted for weeks. But last year, after she began taking garlic honey, she returned with bright eyes and said, "Doctor, I don't know if this is magic, but I didn't have that awful cough this year." And it's not magic, it's chemistry. Allison can break down bacterial cell walls, making it harder for germs to grow. Honey, especially raw or manuka, honey acts like a soothing balm for the throat, calming inflammation and suppressing bacteria and viruses. Together, they're a powerful pair. Garlic fights the invaders. Honey protects and calms your body. 1 small spoon in the morning, or mixed into warm water with lemon and ginger when your throat feels scratchy, can shorten your recovery or even prevent those long winter colds entirely. Nothing miraculous. Just your body being supported at the right moment. 5. When your joints whisper for help. Once you pass 50, your body starts sending tiny messages many people ignore. A little click in your knee going down the stairs, a tightness in your fingers each morning, a dull ache in your hands when the weather turns cold. I always tell my patients, that's not weakness. That's your body whispering for a little more care. I remember Samuel, 66 years old, a former auto mechanic. His hands were strong, built from a lifetime of hard work. But in recent years, the joints in those same hands had grown stiff, painful, and sometimes swollen. He had tried medications, creams, and countless remedies. Yet nothing made a real difference. Until he started taking garlic honey every morning. He looked at me one day and said, "Doctor, I don't know why, but my joints feel less tight. Mornings aren't as miserable anymore." Science explains this beautifully. Garlic contains sulfur compounds like allicin and diallyl disulfide little firefighters that help extinguish the slow, smoldering inflammation inside your joints. Honey brings the gentle side of healing, easing oxidative stress, which is one of the key forces that accelerates joint degeneration as we age. Together, they make a perfect pair. Garlic calms the inflammation. Honey nourishes the tissues. And you begin to feel flexible again. I once told Samuel, your body doesn't always need aggressive solutions. What it needs is patience and habits that stay with you. And garlic honey sometimes is exactly that kind of quiet, steady support your joints have been asking for. 6. When the body feels lighter, the mind follows. One of the things that drains older adults the most isn't age itself. It's that slow, heavy feeling when your body becomes sluggish, stiff, and gains weight even when you're not eating much. I often hear patients say, "Doctor, it feels like this belly doesn't belong to me anymore." And each time I'm reminded of Helen, 63 years old. She loved to cook, loved food, but after turning 60, she gained weight quickly. Her stomach always felt bloated, and even climbing a few stairs left her breathless. I suggested she try garlic honey each morning, not as a miracle weight loss trick, but as a way to wake up a metabolism that had gone to sleep. 3 weeks later, she came back. Not to tell me she'd lost weight, but to tell me she felt lighter in her body and in her mind. Garlic boosts metabolism and helps the body burn energy more efficiently. Honey, with a much lower glycemic index than refined sugar, reduces sugar cravings, the silent reason many people eat more than they realize. Together, they act like a gentle reset button for the body. No forcing, no rushing, just reminding your system how to work the way it used to. I've always believed that when the body feels lighter, the spirit feels lighter too. 1 spoon of garlic honey in the morning, maybe with warm water and a splash of lemon, can become a simple daily ritual that transforms how you feel. 7. When your skin reveals how you treat your body, I often tell my patients, your skin doesn't lie. It tells the whole story of what's happening inside you. Once you pass 50, you may notice changes: dryness, thinning, loss of elasticity, or even unexpected breakouts that make people wonder, how am I getting acne at this age? But your skin is more than the surface. It reflects your liver, your gut, your hormones, and your antioxidant defenses. I remember Patricia, 61, who told me she felt like she had aged overnight after retiring. She tried creams, serums, treatments, but nothing changed until she started working from the inside out. One of the small habits she adopted was a spoon of garlic honey each morning. Garlic contains allicin, a powerful antibacterial and anti-inflammatory compound that helps calm breakouts and redness. Honey is nature's pure nourishment, hydrating, rich in enzymes that support cell repair, and full of antioxidants that slow skin aging. Together, they don't just clear the skin, they brighten it, smooth it, and even out the tone. Because your body detoxifies better, inflammation settles, and your skin is fed from within. I'll never forget what Patricia said when she returned. "I didn't turn younger, doctor, but when I look in the mirror, I look healthier. My skin looks alive again, and that makes me happy every day." That's exactly what I want you to feel. When your body is cared for properly, your skin tells the most beautiful version of your story. 8. When blood sugar steadies, life gets easier. One cold winter morning, I met Dennis, 65, for a routine checkup. He carried a notebook of blood sugar readings, flipping through the pages with a tired sigh. "Doctor, I'm exhausted from chasing these numbers. I just want them to calm down." I understood him. At this age, blood sugar is more than a measurement. It's the difference between having energy for the day or feeling defeated before noon. When I asked about his morning routine, he said he'd been taking garlic honey as I once suggested. Just a small amount, half a teaspoon, but consistently. A month later, he returned with a quiet smile. "Doctor, I wasn't expecting much, but I'm not as drained after meals. My mind feels clearer, and the numbers on my meter aren't jumping all over the place anymore." And that makes perfect sense. Garlic helps improve insulin sensitivity and supports the pancreas. Honey, even though it's sweet, has a much lower glycemic index than refined sugar. It gives you steady energy without sending your blood sugar soaring. And when you pair it with garlic, the two create a gentle, stable metabolic rhythm perfect for older adults who want to support their blood sugar naturally. It's not a miracle. It's simply your body being treated with kindness every day. 9. Breathing easier in the cold months. The respiratory system is the most delicate part of our bodies when winter arrives. A light breeze can irritate your throat, a sudden cold snap can trigger a cough that lingers for weeks, and a stuffy nose can rob you of sleep. And for anyone over 50, these small symptoms often bring fatigue, restlessness, and even exhaustion. I remember Walter, 70, who loved taking a morning walk. But every December, without fail, he developed a dry cough and shortness of breath that forced him to stop his daily routine. One follow-up visit, he asked me, "Doctor, is there something natural, something simple that can help me keep my breath steady?" I reminded him of the garlic honey routine I've recommended to patients for years. A few weeks later, he returned with a soft smile. "I didn't stop coughing overnight, but it's so much better. My throat feels calmer, and I can walk again." And honestly, it makes perfect sense. Allicin in garlic helps loosen mucus, clear the airways, and limit the bacteria that trigger sore throats. Honey soothes the irritated lining of the throat and eases coughing often more gently than many over-the-counter syrups. One small spoon in the morning, or mixed with warm water and ginger when your throat feels scratchy, can feel like wrapping your breath in a warm scarf. 10. Fueling your body the way nature intended. One of the most frustrating parts of middle age isn't the aches, it's the unexplained fatigue. You sleep enough, yet wake up drained. You rest, but never feel restored. It's as if your body is running on half a tank. I remember Thomas, 67. Every morning he felt heavy, sluggish, and needed 2 cups of coffee before he could even think clearly. I suggested he try something different before the coffee, 1 spoon of garlic honey. 4 weeks later, he came back sounding genuinely surprised. "Doctor, I'm not younger, but I'm clearer, more awake, and I don't crash in the afternoon anymore." Again, perfectly reasonable. Garlic boosts circulation, delivering oxygen faster to the brain, and muscles lifting that drained, worn-out feeling. Honey provides natural energy from glucose and fructose, absorbed gently and steadily without the spikes and crashes of refined sugar. Together, they refuel your body in sync with your natural rhythms, smooth, steady, and long-lasting. You know, after decades of caring for people over 50, I've learned a simple truth. Good health rarely comes from big, dramatic changes. It comes from the small habits we choose to keep. A spoonful of garlic honey in the morning isn't magic, but it is your way of telling your body, I'm looking after you. I still want to live well. I still want to live long, and I still want to live fully. If what I shared today feels helpful, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I have many more stories, small lessons, and gentle reminders I want to share with you, so every winter you face and every year ahead can feel warmer and healthier than the last.